Good morning all. This is a big day for me. I'm off to meet a German gentleman who's ridden his motorbike over from Germany to the south coast of England, and he is on a very special bike. It's special for two reasons. Number one, well, the bike itself is special. It is one of the kings of the retro muscle bikes. Second reason it's so special is because this is pretty much the final shortlisted bike that I had in my mind when I picked my Triumph Bonneville, Suzuki GSX1400. I'm 1 hour 20 minutes away. We've agreed to meet in a small village that no, it's not there, I can't remember the name of it. I'll find it in a second. Small village near the south coast of England where I'm going to film this bike. I love the backstory behind it. I love the ambition behind all of it. It's something that I've wanted to just take out and be able to ride and see what the experience is like of trying one of these big muscle bikes. So I'm incredibly excited. Let's hit the road. It's perfect timing. I'm going to hit rush hour to get out of London, but it doesn't matter. I'm on the Triumph Speed 400. So I'll scythe through traffic. Fritz!
Hi, Freddie.
Welcome to England. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very fine. Looking at this, even better.
Yeah, I bet. How was your trip?
Well, I took off in Munich at 5:30 yesterday morning to catch a ferry in Calais at 6 p.m. in the evening. So it was a 600-mile trip in about 10 hours, starting at 6 degrees while the moon was shining. So yeah, it was a bit tough.
Comfort on this?
The comfort on this is excellent. I'm having troubles with my knees because I'm having problems on my joints, but it's not a big problem and it's not the bike's fault. I can go on the bike I've tried it at days with 14 or 15 hours in the saddle.
Yeah.
Going through the Alps, the Dolomites, up Stelvio Pass, no problem at all. Comfort is excellent all day long.
Let's introduce it. You introduce your bike.
Dear viewers, this is my Suzuki GSX1400. It's a 2006 model. It's a Japanese reimport. You can see that by the red coils. It has a 1,400 cubic centimeters inline four-cylinder engine. A bit over 100 horsepower officially. I've had this on a rolling road. It's about 120.
120 horsepower.
And I'm not sure about the torque numbers because pound-foot, and that's a bit difficult. Germany is very clear.
It's big.
It's big. It's big. It's about 120 to 130 Newton meters of torque, which means you can go through a city at 30 miles an hour in 6th gear, no problem. And if you are really willing to do it, you can set off the line in 6th gear on this as well, no problem at all.
1400 cc, 106 claimed horsepower,
Yeah.
228 kilos. Fuel injection from start to finish when it first came out all the way through to 2008. And air-cooled.
Air-cooled.
Interestingly, so this...
It's sort of a hybrid. It's a semi-air and oil-cooled hybrid. But yeah, it has all the advantages of being oil-cooled and all the sounds of being air-cooled. So, yeah.
So it does have an old-school nod to it.
Yes, that was the idea.
Why did you buy it then?
I used to have a 2016 Africa Twin before that, and I never really used it for what it is, as an adventure bike, because I think adventure bikes do have their purpose when you're going longer than 1 day or 2 days. So for 1 hour of riding after work, you don't need an adventure bike. It's a bit boring to me. So I sold it. And then my wife, got pregnant. And I didn't. So I needed a project, and I started looking at Suzuki Bandit 600s because I wanted a cheap bike, something that you don't worry about too much when it's just standing. So when you have an expensive bike, you wanted to ride it, and you feel bad when you don't. So, and then I came across this because it looks Japanese classic. And I loved the idea of having one of the biggest engines ever made in a motorcycle. And I thought, well, yeah, you can adjust the rest yourself, don't worry. Yeah. And when I bought it, it had an incredibly ugly sort of a twin headlight, left and right. Yeah. Small chrome, not my thing. It had a seat with a step on it.
Oh, so this is modified.
This is modified.
Okay, so what have you done? Yeah. What have you done?
The modifications are it's not big, but quite a lot. Mm-hmm. The tailpiece is repainted, and we've removed the holes for the little handle. The seat cover is new. The seat is not. The seat cover is new. The engine bars are new, the tank pads are new to match the seat, of course. The handlebar is new, the grips and the handlebar caps are new, the mirrors are new, the radiator grille is new, the headlight is new, and what I really like is I've added some, well, no, my mechanic in Germany added some LED indicators that work as sort of extra daytime running lights.
Okay,
I don't know if you can see it on camera, but yeah, they are sort of extra light in front.
All you've done, nothing hugely major, but just given it a slight soft modernization.
Yes, because I love English looks and I love Japanese engines, and you can't have both. It's not possible.
One other thing that this has over the likes of the Bonneville T120, the size of this seat.
Yeah.
It's gigantic.
It's gigantic, it's comfortable, and, well, as a German, that's highly important.
Okay,
it's practical as well. Because it has a 14-liter storage compartment under it.
That's the biggest I've ever seen. So you've got toolkit, you've got spare netting, you've even got... The amount of stuff. I've never seen anything.
It's not even half full. It's not even half full.
14 litres underneath. Usually this is just reserved for stuff like fuse boxes and stuff like that.
There's you can fit quite a lot in that. There's a GSX1400 owner in the Netherlands, and she got quite famous for fitting 40 hot dogs under her seat. 40 hot dogs.
I mean, these have, Fritz, a fascinating history. This came out in the era of the gigantic Japanese muscle bikes. It was a race for power. You had the Kawasaki ZXR1200. You had the Yamaha XJR1300. You had the Honda CB1300. It was a race where the only thing that mattered was cubic capacity and torque. But they're very much of their era, because this battle, this final battle, really only lasted up until about 2010, 2008, something like that. Do you know, out of all 4 of those bikes, which one has the most torque?
Well, let me make an educated guess. I think it is this one.
You're right. Do you know? Well done. Right. That's a leading question there. The fascinating thing is, Suzuki, when they brought this bike out, first of all, they realized in their mind, people are starting to lose their love for super sports bikes, where it's just more and more horsepower. Why don't we try and make a bike with more cc's than the Suzuki Bandit 1200, but slightly more refinement?
Yes.
So they came out with this,
Yeah.
but they came out with this only in the Japanese market. Story has it, rumor has it, Suzuki released the GSX1400 in Japan, and in Europe they freaked out so much after seeing it, loving the looks of it, then realizing, hold on a second, they're not even going to release this in Europe, demanding Suzuki release it. So Suzuki obliged, started selling it in Europe, but it didn't quite sell as well as Suzuki planned. So all of the dealers were buying up these bikes. It was on for sale for £6,000 in the UK when brand new, which isn't a lot of money.
It's not, it's not.
But the dealers bought all of them. There wasn't quite the demand that the dealers thought there'd be, so they were selling them at slightly knocked down prices.
Yeah. And the Americans, your colonies, never even got one.
Did they not?
No, I don't think so. As an import, maybe, but never officially. And they were a bit cross as well.
I can imagine. So for you to live with a bike like this, do you mind if I sit on it?
Yeah, feel free.
How is it to live with... I mean, I don't want to lie, it doesn't hide its weight well. It's not unpleasantly heavy, but what is it like to
Just
live
until the
with
moment
this?
until you get going. Then it feels very agile, I promise.
Do you know the thing that surprises me? The seat height.
Yeah.
Is very pleasant, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Really nice seat height, and the seat, you've had it reupholstered, but that is a seriously comfortable seat, coupled with a very, very pleasing leg height. I think it means that it's just not going to be quite as intimidating as you would think.
No, it actually is not, and you just asked how it is to live with it. It's brilliant, I love it. I use it for commuting, I use it for even sometimes getting to the stores and buying some groceries. I used to visit friends and, well, actually doing some business trips from time to time as well on it, because it looks elegant to me. It's sort of a Jekyll and Hyde beast, because if you ride it as a decent man, it's very quiet as well. And if you give it the beans, then it turns into a monster. Well, it has a full titanium Krapovic exhaust that you are going to hear in a minute. And yeah.
I'm going to take this off for it so you can start it up.
Yeah.
1400cc. I mean, it's 106 horsepower. It's not a lot, is it?
It's not a lot, but as we all know, horsepower is not a real life power. Torque is a real life power. And when it comes to torque, there's not much that you would put in front of that one.
And this leads me perfectly onto it. When you look at the competition that we mentioned earlier, this actually has the joint lowest horsepower of all of those four bikes. But what it has, and this is key, it's got the biggest engine size and the most amount of torque. So for what Suzuki are going for, they win, really, don't they?
And additionally, it has a 22-liter fuel tank, and I can get over 220 miles from it, which is a rarity in itself. It has 6 gears, which is one too many, to be honest. You could even think that it only needs 2, second and fourth. That should be enough, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, that's what you're going to notice. If you really lose track what gear you're in, because you don't need as much. Yeah.
How sweet. I'm going to take it on a little test in a second, but I won't get to take it on to motorway speeds.
Well,
how sweet.
You could try.
Yeah. I mean, how lucky are we? I picked this place, just Google Maps, out of the blue.
Yeah.
We're on a road here.
Yeah.
I think we've seen about 3 cars pass in 40 minutes. We're in the middle of the countryside, there's no one here. So I probably could get it faster than I think. But how big a selling point, how big a factor is this engine? Is the engine everything on the bike, and just you have a body around it? Is that front, center, everything? It makes the whole bike?
It does to about, well, to me, 70–80%, yes.
Let's hear the exhaust, and then I want to talk for its residuals.
Okay. Viewers, are you ready? not quiet.
So it is quiet. That's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
It's not obnoxious at all.
The idle is below 1000 RPM. So you think it would almost go out, but it doesn't. It's so stable. It's so stable. But then if you use this little piece here,
And I can smell the fuel.
yes.
I can tell immediately that this would be a perfectly easy bike to live with.
Yes,
just
it is.
from hearing how it idles.
Yes.
It's so quiet. So it has no choke control,
No.
anything like that.
No.
Okay.
It's super easy. There's nothing on it. No computers, no traction controls, no riding modes, no electronic suspension or anything like it. You just hop on and go.
This is, if we look at the bike in general, may I?
Yeah, sure.
Look at the bike in general. This is classed as technically a retro muscle bike.
Yes.
It's kind of quite niche, but this is between the four big Japanese heavyweights here, and they're competing in the noughties.
Yes.
Really, the key ingredients: the bigger the engine, the better. Ideally, it has to have a single, ideally circular front headlamp.
Yes.
It has to have the twin shocks on the back.
Yes.
Has to be stripped back.
And it sort of does have to have a pointy tail. That's a very important
Japanese
element
thing.
for the Japanese, yes. I'm not a big fan, but it's sort of,
And that's the differentiating element when you compare it, for example, to a Triumph or something like that.
Yes.
But they were the must-have ingredients. You've got all of the nods. You've got the rubber gaiters, but you do have that Japanese element. For example, this tank is by no means, by British standards, a classically styled tank. But the silhouette is extremely classically styled. What's it like in Germany, residual-wise? How much would you have to pay for one of these?
You can have, starting prices for okay ones are about 2,000 euros. I don't have the
2,000 euros.
The currency is well, I don't know what a pound is at the moment.
No, that's good.
It's 2,000 euros for one that rides. For a good one, you'll be about 4 to 5. For a perfect one or a highly modified one or whatever, you have to go to up to 6 or 7 even. Yeah.
The interesting thing in the UK market.
This one was, I think, pretty much exactly 5 grand when I bought it.
5,000 euros.
5,000 euros, yes, with 20,000 kilometers on it.
UK price-wise, you can, if you want a really, tatty one, as tatty as you can get, you can just squeeze under £3,000 of them. But one interesting thing I've noticed, and the reason I've noticed it is because I follow these bikes, because as I said, it was between this and the Bonneville for what I was going to pick, and it was so close. But some dealers now, almost immaculate condition ones, they've started nudging the price up to £10,000. So you can just see if that's an indication of things to come and possibly why it's happening. Because if we look back at this generation, you would have to say that this probably takes the crown as the ultimate of its era. And with that can potentially come some decently solid residuals. Fritz.
It's not a dying breed, it's a dead breed. It is. It is. You have high capacity motorcycles like a Ducati Diavel, but it's just not the same to me. And it's incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. I think when you buy a Ducati Diavel, you're about 4 times the price of this one.
That's a really interesting point. Is there anything like this, or the market has just completely died? If you go online and look for all of the brand new bikes, every lineup from Suzuki to Triumph to Ducati, this is dead. It doesn't exist. There's nothing like this anymore, is there? It died out about 10 years ago in reality.
And there's basically nothing that a modern bike can do that this can't do.
How highly do you rate this?
Out of what? 10? Well, we are at 10 easily.
Is it really? It's that good?
If we are going up to 100, it's to me, it's probably about 85 to 90. Because, well, ABS. It's a good feature, to be honest. It's no ABS, no traction control. I don't need traction control.
Does it have anything?
No. There's no ABS, no riding modes. I would prefer have it with an ABS, to be honest, because I've had some situations going down Stelvio Pass in the rain. Locking up the rear wheel is not a great idea on a bike that weighs, well, about as a small elephant. But yeah, that's no reason not to buy one. If you can have one, buy it.
Fritz, may I take it out?
You may, as long as you like.
Thank you.
I'll be here forever. You're not coming back.
Just before Fritz, actually, I give my thoughts on the ride. I want to do one thing because this is something that amazed me. It must be because of the relatively low seat height. I thought when I was doing a 3-point turn on the country lanes back there, I thought it would be impossible. You know, like similar to a Triumph Rocket or something like that. But it's not.
No.
The maneuverability on this isn't remotely, as I check if I've gone in a ditch,
don't worry.
isn't remotely daunting.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's really not difficult to maneuver, to live with.
It is heavy, yeah, but low seat height and steering angle do help.
Massively.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to do, just before I wrap this bit. How often do you get to do this? Parked up, 1400cc naked.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Compared to a 400cc naked.
Yeah.
That is a 1000cc difference.
Yeah. And how much is that one new?
This is a really good point. £5,200.
Yeah.
A good one of these, about the same.
About the same. I think there's about 6 liters of oil in it. They need to warm up. And going down the ferry yesterday evening, I had a bit of a embarrassing moment.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth now. Now it comes out. I'm glad we got this.
The oil was cold. I was in between Polish truck drivers on 40-ton trailers. Yeah, and I stole the engine. And yeah, good one.
Fritz, bang for your buck. We were just chatting about this off camera. Is there anything that can combine this level of brutality, but ease of use, the power, the event, the sense of occasion, all for, let's say, for sake of argument, £5,000. There isn't much.
To me, the biggest rival is the CB1300 because it has ABS, and I think it is a bit more refined here and there because, well, I don't know, it's a Honda, probably, I don't know. But yeah, it has a smaller engine and, well, that's the point. It's a bigger engine.
Okay, I'm going to zoom into this now to wrap it.
You could almost hide it behind it.
Yeah, I know, I was actually thinking about that. Can you tell? Because we're children, we put the Speed 400 behind. You can't even see it, it's such a big beast. To wrap up my experiences on the short ride with it, I expected this to be an overweight, clunky feeling old bike that you really had to nurse to change gear. And it in reality wouldn't have matched up to my expectations of a comparison with newer bikes. But genuinely, and I'm really not just saying this, I hope this comes across as genuine. I was riding up these lanes, I was blown away. It's a staggeringly good bike. I would recommend this very highly to anyone. The best way I can describe it, in Tenerife, I took out a 1976 Kawasaki Z1000, Eddie Lawson replica. This was one of the big beasts. It's about the size of this, and I got on it, and it was exactly what I expected it to be. It felt massive, it was incredibly intimidating, and it felt like an old bike. This has all of the character of that 1976 Kawasaki Z1000, but just enough of the modern refinement to make you trust the bike, to make it more enjoyable on a day-to-day basis. So what it is, the Suzuki GSX1400, this really is the final king of the retro heavyweights. Fritz, thank you so much.
From my heavyweight retro fit. Thank you, Freddie.
It's been a pleasure, and if you fancy it, I'll take you for a pub lunch.
Oh, why not? Yeah, sure.